So the first step of working inside of any of the Microsoft Office applications is to open the application. So we're going to take a really quick, simple look at launching Microsoft Excel on your computer. Now, taking a look at my desktop, I've got a shortcut key directed towards Microsoft Excel 2013. So all I need to do is give that a double click and I'll launch Excel. Now, not all of us have a shortcut sitting on our desktop waiting for us to give a double click to. In that case, still super simple, to launch Excel, you're going to visit the Windows Start menu. Take a look. So in my case, I'm going to move down to the lower left corner of my screen. This activates my hidden taskbar. I'm going to click on the little Windows icon down there. This is my Windows 10 Start menu. Inside of the Start menu, now I do want to point out that it may look a little different based on what version of Windows you have on there, but the same concept applies. I'll find All Apps. I'm going to scroll down till I find M for Microsoft. There it is. I've got Microsoft Office 2013 installed, and I'll find Excel. So I'll give that a click, and I've now launched Microsoft Excel on my computer. Really simple. So whether you got that shortcut key, shortcut icon on your desktop, give it a double click, launch Excel, or do really quickly, jump into the Start menu, find Microsoft Office, find Excel, give it a click, and you got Excel. Now, to point out, based on what version you have loaded on your system, if you got 2013 or the newest release, as of this recording, 2016, you get the Start screen to start with, this welcome page. Now, all I need to do to really get Excel launched and going for me is to choose a blank workbook. If you're in 2010 or earlier, 2007, 2003, whatever it might be, you've already got a workbook open in front of you as soon as you launch Excel. In my case, I'll just select blank workbook, and now I've got Excel full blown with my default blank workbook open in front of me. So try this out. Launch Excel, whether it's from that desktop icon or down in your Start menu, and get a blank workbook open in front of you. The next thing we're going to discuss is getting into the application, becoming familiar with the interface. So try this out first. Get Excel open. So now that we've got Microsoft Excel launched on our computers, let's take a look at the Excel interface. Now I'm going to break the interface up into two different sections, and we're going to approach this into two separate videos. The first one, or the first topic, is going to deal with the Excel application interface. And then we're going to talk about the Excel document itself. So first, the application. Way back when, prior to the 2007 release of the Microsoft Office suite, Microsoft had a pretty consistent interface. They've had this for years. They had these drop-down menus: File, Edit, View, Insert, Tools, and so on. And they were these text-based drop-down menus. Now, 2007 and later, I'm in 2013 here, they stripped those out and they gave us what's called the ribbon. This is the top portion of your screen. It's this more graphical, tabbed interface where you'll find all of the tools that are at your disposal within the given application. And this isn't something that's just explicit to Excel. The same concept, the ribbon, applies to Word, PowerPoint, Outlook, Access, any of the newer Microsoft Office applications. So taking a look here, I'm currently on the Insert tab, and I've got all these nice graphical tools, buttons that I can click on to insert content and additional elements into my Excel workbook. If I hop over to the Home tab, I've now got a separate set of tools, nice big graphical buttons that give me access to some very common commands that you'll be working with as you develop Excel documents. Now, each of these tabs are all very similar. They just hold their respective features, except for one. The File tab is quite a bit different. If I give this one a click, it's not just a simple tab with a bunch of commands up there, but it replaces the entire screen. This is commonly referred to as the Backstage View. This is where you'll find all the features, all the commands that deal with the file as a whole. Things like creating new documents, opening documents, saving documents, printing documents, and so on. This is your File tab or the Backstage View. Now, I want to get out of the File tab and back into my main Excel application. Really simple. I'll click that little arrow up there at the top of the screen, and I'm back inside of Excel. So there's your ribbon. Right below the ribbon, you've got what's called the formula bar. The formula bar is going to become more relevant and more useful as you start entering data and editing that data, as well as adding formulas, calculations inside of your Excel document. So you got your ribbon, you got your formula bar, and now down at the very bottom of the screen, you got what's called the status bar. Now the status bar is not giving me very much right now at this moment, but it is very dynamic. Based on what you're doing, what you have selected, you will see different options show up on this little gray bar here. For now, really the only useful stuff that I have at this moment is a few different views. I've got my standard normal view where you'll spend most of your time. That's what you're looking at right now. I've got page layout view and page break preview. Two commands, two views that we'll talk about much more in depth later on as we get into printing our document. And you've got a little zoom bar, nice little interactive slider that you can zoom in and zoom out on your document. So your ribbon, your formula bar, your status bar. Now one more area, this is something we're going to talk much more in depth in the next video, but in the top left corner, you've got what's called the Quick Access Toolbar. Microsoft has provided 3 commands within Excel to give you quick, easy access to these commands found on the Quick Access Toolbar. You've got save, undo, and redo. 3 simple commands, but simply at your fingertips for quick, easy access. We're going to take a look in the next video how you can customize that Quick Access Toolbar. But take a moment before you jump into that video, just browse around within the interface. Take a look at the ribbon, look at a few different tabs up there, take a look at the status bar, maybe click on a couple different views there. Get back into normal view, that's where we'll spend most of our time. But just getting familiar with the Excel application interface. Try it out, poke around in there, get comfortable. So I want to take a closer look at the Quick Access Toolbar within your Microsoft Excel application. Now I want to point out once again that this isn't something that's only for Excel. This is something you'll find inside of Word, PowerPoint, as well as Outlook. The Quick Access Toolbar, which once again is in the top left corner of your screen, is where you'll find the common commands that you'll be working with as you develop documents within Excel. Now, Microsoft only gave you a handful. You've got save, undo, and redo. Now, you can customize the Quick Access Toolbar and save some of your own favorite common commands to that toolbar, giving you quick, easy access to those tools. Take a look. Now, if I click on this little down arrow just to the right of the Quick Access Toolbar, you'll find a handful of other common commands that Microsoft has provided for you. Now, for me personally, something that I do a lot of is I print documents. Now, normally inside of Excel, if you want to print something, here's the steps. Step number 1, you got to go to their File tab. There's step 1. Step 2, I got to go to Print. That's 2 steps so far, right? Step 3, I got to click the Print button. So 3 clicks later, I'm finally printing the document and I can go look for my printer. Now that may not seem like a lot, but I can take those 3 steps utilizing the Quick Access Toolbar and knock it down to 1 step. Take a look. I'm going to hit the arrow to take me back to Excel. Now I'm going to go to a little drop down arrow up here and I'm going to choose Quick Print. So now right there on my Quick Access Toolbar, 1 button press, I can print my document. We've taken what would normally be 3 separate steps into 1 quick, easy, accessible button. 1 button press. Now Microsoft, in that little drop down, has supplied some of the more common features. I like Quick Print. I like New and Open. Save is great. It's already there by default. Spell Checker, that's a great one as well. 1 button press, quick, easy access to these commands. Now, I'm going to give you a tip here. And once again, this isn't something that's only for Excel. You open up Word, PowerPoint, Outlook, you can do the exact same thing there. Take a look. Now, let's say, for example, on the Formula tab, I've got Auto Sum, something we're going to talk about much more in depth in a later lecture. The Auto Sum button is something I use just about every day and perhaps multiple times a day. In order for me to use it, I got to go to Formulas, I got to find Auto Sum. Okay? Once again, not a huge amount of steps, but let's simplify this. Any command that you find on a ribbon, on one of the tabs within there, if you right click on the command like the Auto Sum, your first option, add to Quick Access Toolbar. So I select that, and now right there, quick easy access, I've got access to my auto sum button right there. Again, the quick access toolbar, hence its name, quick, easy, accessible, all your favorite commands, all your common commands right there at your fingertips. So try this out. Launch Excel, customize that quick access toolbar, give yourself a few commands up there. Maybe just copy mine if you're brand new to Excel. If you've been using Excel for a while, find some of those common commands that you work with and customize that quick access toolbar to give yourself quick, easy access to those commands. Now we're talking about the Excel interface, and we talked about the application interface itself. The ribbon, the formula bar, the status bar, the quick access toolbar, giving yourself quick, easy access to those favorite common commands. Now, I want to move away from the application interface and get into what really makes up Excel. This is the workbook. This is really the second half of the Excel interface. Now, looking at my screen, I've got a blank workbook open in front of you. This workbook contains a worksheet. You can see that I have a tab down there at the bottom called Sheet 1. A single workbook, and a workbook is really your main Excel document. It can contain up to 255 worksheets. This is huge. I've only got one right now. I can hit the little plus sign just to the right, and this will add a second sheet or worksheet called Sheet 2. Remember, 255 of these things. Now this is your workbook, and within the workbook you got the worksheets. Each worksheet, I'm going to click back on Sheet 1 here, looks identical. It's got columns, A, B, C, D, and so on. Goes through the alphabet and beyond, and it's got rows. 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on. It goes on forever. We're going to see how big this worksheet really is. But we've got these columns and rows. It's a big grid. And each cross section, these little rectangles on my screen here, represent what are called cells. They have an address, a location within this document based on the column and the row. So for example, right now, I'm currently inside of cell C9, column C, row 9. So we have this massive grid of cells, these little rectangles, where you're going to make up your data, you're going to input your data. Now let's see just how big a single, remember this is just one, you can have up to 255 of them inside of this workbook. Let's see how big a worksheet is. Now I'm going to click, just with my mouse, I'm going to click back up into A1. Okay? So I'm currently inside of row 1. I can see all the way down to row 23 currently on my screen. Let's see how big this single worksheet is. How many rows does it have? On my keyboard, I'm going to use a shortcut key here. I'm going to press my Control key and my down arrow. Control down arrow. This will jump me all the way to the bottom of the worksheet. And you can see that I got quite a number of rows there. 1,048,576 rows within this single worksheet. That's huge. One worksheet. How many worksheets can you have? Multiply that. Huge amount. Now that's rows. How about columns? How many columns do we have here? Well, we started in A. It's going to go to Z. We get to the end of the alphabet, and what's it going to do? Well, you know what? It just continues. It loops the alphabet again. So it'll go AA, AB, AC, AD, and so on. I'm going to do another shortcut key here. Control right arrow. And this will take me all the way to the last column there. XFD. Now, I can't remember the exact number, but that's several columns in width. That is really making up this Excel worksheet. So I'm in over 1 million rows, several thousand columns, all these little cells, these little rectangles where I can input data. Now, if you're ever lost in that sea of columns and rows and data, here's another shortcut key for you. Control and the home key. Right above my arrow keys, I got a home key. I'll press that, and it'll take me right back up to cell A1. So this is your Excel workbook. Within the workbook, you got worksheets, up to 255 of these things. With all these rows and all these columns, this is your main document. Now we're going to talk about saving here in just a little bit. When you save this document, this Excel workbook with all these worksheets, you create what's called an Excel workbook, but it has an extension of .xlsx. So try this out for me. Jump into Excel, give yourself a blank workbook, try clicking in a few cells there. Identify where you're at, whether you're in A1 or B20 or wherever. Try the shortcut keys. Control down arrow, right arrow, up arrow, left arrow. Just navigate around within the Excel workbook, the worksheets, and just become comfortable working inside of Excel. So we've gotten a little more comfortable with launching Excel, taking a look at the interface, taking a look at the workbook structure. Now, eventually you're going to start building Excel documents, or coworkers are going to start sending you their Excel documents. Well, how do you open these documents? How do you save these documents? So I want to take a look at both of these topics. The first one that we'll look at is saving. And it's really simple and really quick. Now, you'll recall, when I opened up Excel, I was given a workbook, a blank workbook. It's called Book 1. I can see this up at the top of my screen. Now, I've created a document. Maybe I'm going to put some data in here, create a spreadsheet or a nice little list or some charts. And now I want to save this on my computer and maybe later send it to coworkers. Well, I got to save it first. Like I said, super simple. I'm going to go up to my quick access toolbar. Remember, quick, easy access. And I got a little save button there. I'll give that a click. This will take me into the Backstage View, right to save as, and I got different locations. Depending on where you want to save it at, on your computer, on a network drive, on my OneDrive personal account through Microsoft, wherever it is. For me, in my demonstration, I'm going to keep it on my OneDrive cloud storage through Microsoft. I'm going to go ahead and browse. Let's see, I'm going to go in a folder called Office Noob. I'm going to go into my videos. Let's see, this is a Microsoft Office video. I'm going to go into Excel 101. And now I've got my location where I'm going to save this document, and I'm going to give it a name. Note the type of document. This is an Excel workbook. Remember the .xlsx document. The Excel workbook, that's your main file that contains all of its worksheets. So I'm going to rename it. I'll just call this monthly budget. And I like to put a number at the end just in case I create my own manual versions here. Version 2, 3, and so on. So I'll go ahead and hit save. Simple. Hit the little disc in the corner. I've saved the document. You got to find the location where you want to save it at, give it a name, but other than that, I can now see that I've created a document and I've saved it, called it monthly budget, and it's a .xlsx document, an Excel workbook. So try this out. Create a new document. File, save, or hit the little disc there at the top, give it a name, save it. You've now saved your Excel workbook. So now that we've got the save out of the way, how about opening a document? Whether it's a document that you yourself created and saved someplace locally on your system, or on your OneDrive account, or your network drive, or maybe it's a document that somebody emailed to you and you saved it locally on your computer. Now you want to open it. Well, just like save, super simple. First, I've got my monthly budget document open. I'm going to close it. So I'm going to go up to my File tab, and I'm going to go down to Close. This will close the workbook, not Excel. Excel will remain open, but I'll close that active document. So I'm going to close. The document's gone. You can see I no longer have the monthly budget workbook open. But now, you know what? I want to reopen it. Well, once again, there are multiple ways to do this. Take a look. I'm going to go up to File. I'm going to go to Open, which is where it took me by default. Now, I do have recent workbooks, and I can find my monthly budget right there. One click. Open. But what if this is something that somebody emailed to you, and this is the first time you've ever opened the document? It's not going to be in your recent list because you've never had it before. Well, in order to open that up, I need to browse for where I saved it at. So I'm going to go to my OneDrive account. I'm going to go ahead and browse. I'll find Office Noob. I'll find Videos, Microsoft Office, Excel 101, and there's my monthly budget document, .xlsx. So with that selected, I'm going to hit Open, and that's it. File, Open, go browse for the document, wherever it's saved at, locate it, select it, hit Open, and you've got the document. So try this out on your own as well. Get a document, maybe one that you saved earlier. Open it up, File, Open, and go find that document. It's as simple as that.